Welcome, everyone, to the Daily Night. I am your host, Brian Smith, and I'm also the publisher at Inside the Nights on Fan Nation, powered by Sports Illustrated. And I'm here to bring you a little high school football action. Several of the players playing in this game have either been offered by UCF or they will be offered by UCF. And several of them are, quite frankly, just good football players. There's a couple younger guys that have a chance to be national recruits I'll talk about here in just a moment. With this game, and this is going to be a theme on Thursday, Friday, Saturdays, kind of a combination. I'm going to be going through all kinds of different areas to see games. South Florida, Central Florida, North Florida, could be Atlanta, etc., Alabama. Throughout this season, I'm going to go watch kids all over that UCF is interested in signing, as well as just good football. High school football in the Deep South is fantastic. It's something I'm passionate about, and it's something I'm going to bring to you each and every week. Again, Friday is the most likely day to have something. I'm still kind of working out everything, but besides the preview, the day of a game, look for something on Thursdays and Saturdays, like previewing another game that I may not be able to go to, or hearing about something and seeing some video and writing and possibly doing a podcast about it as well. I just love high school football in the Deep South. With that, I'm just going to kind of go over a few of the players that I know about from these two rosters. There's a lot of talent on both. To put it in perspective, Coach Dorminey over at Trinity Christian, he's in like his 33rd year or something like that. He just won his 300th game on the 17th. That's right, 300th game. That's a lot. I don't care what sport it is, 300 is a big number. So congratulations to him. And he certainly has some prospects, and I'll get to that in just a moment. First, I'm going to feature the home team. I am currently in Lake City. It's the intersection of 4 and 75, more or less. Up in the Panhandle, and this is a program that's had so many great players over the years. One of my favorite of all time, Bernard Wilson, who played at Florida State in the mid-'90s. He was tremendous and was a first-round pick of the Cincinnati Bengals. A few of the kids that I want to talk about, one senior, and that's Marcus Peterson, but they also have several juniors, and they've got some good players coming up in general. I'm just going to go over some of the headliners. But for those of you that don't know, this is a program that schools need to recruit. If they're not, that's their fault. They're failing. First off, a kid that I think is being under-recruited, wide receiver Trey Tolliver, 5'9", 170 pounds, really fast, has the ability to make people miss in space, and he's really adaptive at finding a way to slip out of a tackle, get that extra yardage. He's a young man that I think will get more offers as time moves forward. Again, he's only a junior, but he has the quickness to make people miss in space, and he can also be a punt and or kick returner. When you have that kind of versatility, it's certainly going to add to the opportunity to be recruited. On the other side of the football, Omari Farrell, I liked him when I saw him this spring, when I saw Lake City Columbia play at Bartram Trail over in Jacksonville. He can play corner, but he can play free safety. He could be either one at the college level. Let's see how big he gets. 190 pounds, give or take. I think he's going to end up at free safety. Depending on the team, however, maybe he plays boundary corner. He's got the physicalness, the length, and the ability to track the football in the air to definitely be a DB. Whether or not that translates to corner or safety probably depends on the college program in question. With that being said, he's a kid that'll probably end up with 30 offers. South Carolina, where he's going tomorrow with some of his teammates to go watch a game, and several other programs like UCF, Cincinnati, USF. There's a lot of teams after him. I think that he's going to end up being offered again by 25, 30 programs. He has such versatility that it's hard to find guys like him. The other guy on defense that I find interesting is another junior and his good friend, Jaden Robinson. If you need a linebacker that can run, who can cover in space, who has the ability to get out there and close off an outside run or stop an RPO by forcing the quarterback to throw before he wants to, whatever it is. If it relates to quickness and speed, Jaden can do that at the linebacker position. He's also instinctive in pass coverage. It's not just something where he's running into plays because of his athleticism. He has the ability to chase it down and take good angles. Sometimes, like other young players, he'll get out of position once in a while. That's common. But he does so in a way that it doesn't even matter because he hits with ferocity and he gets there in a hurry. If you're going to do it wrong fast. And Jaden can do that. He's playing will linebacker for his team from what I remember. I'm curious to see him tonight and see if they move him around much. He'll blitz once in a while. but overall he has the ability to make teams want to know where he's at pre-snap. He's one of those guys. So with that, I'm curious to see what Jaden can do. The senior they have is a tremendous player. By the way, Jaden has offers from a ton of schools, much like Omari. He's going to be a 20-30 offer guy. Peterson is their player on offense, though. Marcus Peterson is a special athlete because he could have been a track guy, a baseball guy, basketball, wrestling, whatever. He would have found a way. Coming up, he was a basketball player primarily. Then last year, they finally got this young man to come out for football and to really kind of dive into it. I saw him play against Trinity Christian, ironically, when they played there last year. Some kid jumps up in the back of the end zone and snags a catch, and I thought the ball was going out of the end zone. It was Marcus. He snags it out of the air, and I'm like, who is that guy? He's different. And sure enough, he ended up having a few more big-time plays during the game. He's not your average football player. This is a special talent. I know he's late to the game of football, but he's very, very, very talented. Marcus could be as good as he wants. He's committed to Cincinnati. He had offers from like 30 schools. Could have played in the SEC or whatever, but he's got a connection to Cincinnati. That's why he's going to go up there. Wanted to get away from home and kind of do his own thing. I'm curious to see what he does tonight because he's going to be going up against Cam Miller part of the time. I'll talk about Cam in a minute. And Jacksonville Trinity Christians is well coached as you're going to see in North Florida, possibly the state of Florida. They're going to find ways to try to box him in a little bit. But because Lake City, Columbia has some other good players, they got to kind of pick and choose. Who do you want to try to stop? Lake City, Columbia will be able to run the ball some. They've got a couple of good upperclassmen running backs, and they have speed at all their skill spots. So let's see what Marcus can do tonight. I doubt he's going to top what he did last year, but that's why you go to the games. You find out. On top of that, I'm curious to see if Marcus can make that game-changing play. I think he's underrated in terms of recruiting rankings. I think he's a top 100 to top 150 kid minimum, and I think he's being undersold, partially due to the fact he's in Lake City. It's not a huge town, but this young man can really ball. On the other side, the player I just mentioned a moment ago, Cam Miller, this is a young man that has quickness, he has speed, he has the elusiveness to be a flanker. But I don't know what he's going to do. He's technically committed to Penn State. I don't know if he's still talking to schools or not. He had a ton of offers, Florida, and Notre Dame, and a bunch of different schools offered this young man. I'm curious to see if he plays more like a defensive guy, the way he carries himself. What kind of attitude does Cam Miller bring? Does he play with that defensive, physical, in-your-face attitude, or is he more suited to being an offensive guy? We'll find out tonight. I think there's a bit of a difference, traditionally speaking, between offense and defense. And defensive guys usually have a little more swagger. We'll see. He can definitely run. Very much a guy that if he gets it in space, if they throw him a screen and you're not in proper position, he can score. Also, he has long speed. He has the ability to get over the top. So maybe he'll go up against Farrell at some point. That would be interesting when he's on offense and Columbia is on D. But Columbia has speed at all their positions. They can really run. And that's why I'm here for this game. The skill spots in particular intrigue me. On top of that, there are a lot of good players for Trinity Christian. I'm not sure if he's going to play, but I'll mention him. I've heard Treyon Webb has been banged up. He's the running back committed to University of Oklahoma. Treyon is a junior, so he is a class of 23 player. Saw him last year. He really grinded it out. He's the reason that Columbia got beat by Jacksonville Trinity Christian because he just kind of grinded it out in the third and fourth quarter. He had an ankle injury. He still played. So I'll give him credit. He's a tough young man. He is a traditional running back, can catch, can block. He's three-phase, and obviously he can run. I'm curious with his ability to play again. I want to see how much bigger and stronger he is. If nothing else, I'll see him at the game tonight, kind of just size him up. I'm not sure if he's still talking to anybody, but he is technically committed to Oklahoma. The kid that most people are kind of talking about, though, isn't the stud committed to Oklahoma, which is very interesting. I've seen a lot of young men come through programs and be hyped up, but I saw him play 7-on-7. Colin Hurley, young quarterback, He's got a bunch of offers already, which kind of scares me at the quarterback position. Listed for whatever it's worth at 6 foot, 205 pounds. I'm not sure how many of his offers are committable, but I think he's got quite a few, and the SEC in particular is amongst them. If this young man is as good in pads as he is in 7-on-7, and those are, as odd as this may seem, two different sports, really. When you're not tackling, it's not football. But 7-on-7 is still helpful, and it gets quarterbacks to learn coverages, etc. So it's a valuable tool. But he was really good, and his arm strength for his age was advanced. How much stronger is he? Is he quicker? Can he run the football? Does he have the ability to do all those things in combination? Those are some of the things I'm looking at. They have several other players, too. I want to see which skill guys he really tries to get involved. I don't have to come in and look at a list with Trinity. They always have players. Again, they just won state championship last year. They're going to have players. Can they throw the football around? Can they run it if Treyon's not playing? They'll have somebody at all the spots. So defensively, they're not as good as they were last year by a long shot. I don't know how many guys they lost, but it was quite a few players. So that's something I'm going to try to evaluate. Do they have a young corner? Do they have a young defensive tackle, et cetera? I need to find that out. I'm sure that I'm missing 10, 15 guys that they probably have. Thomas Fryer, I think, is a pretty good player. I remember him from last year. He's a linebacker. But they probably have 10 or 15 guys that will play some form of college football, maybe not D1, but D2, D3, FCS, et cetera, because they always have good players. And most of all, Trinity Christian can run, speed, just like Columbia. So with that, I just kind of wanted to give a preview. I'm going to do a couple different stories for tomorrow that'll be up on Sunday. One is going to feature the town. Football is a religion in the South. I'm going to bring to you what happens in these towns. Lake City is not the biggest town in the world, but again, it's at the cross section, 75 and 4, more or less. It's pretty close to both. And it's fascinating to me, the people that come through here. I'm at a famous hotel that was built in like 1901. It's in downtown. It's beautiful. But there's all kinds of opportunities here to have fun, the outdoors and everything. I was greeted very hospitably at both the restaurants I went to. Shirley's this morning was fine. And you know what? The food in this area is incredible. If you get an opportunity and you don't go out and take advantage of it, that's on you. But just kind of looking at my notes, I can put it to you like this. The Country Corner is a restaurant. If you have not eaten in this town and you're coming through, everybody passes through Florida anyway, look up the Country Corner. Country spelled with a K. It is some of the best food you will get in Dixie, period. $15, all you can eat, tremendous. If you want breakfast food, check out Shirley's. Absolutely great. I had the pork chops this morning. That's my other passion beyond football, is checking out restaurants all over the place. It's a lot of fun. It's one of the reasons I like to travel. So great places. And again, 75 and 10, they're passing right through. You might as well check it out. So that's going to do it for this episode. I'm going to do some stuff tomorrow morning about the game, about some of the prospects, how they looked. Going to do some NFL stuff. And I'm also going to feature at some point in the next 48 hours, I interviewed the head coach for Mikey Keene when he was in high school. And I'm going to put that up, all his quotes and everything. So that's going to do it for the Daily Night. I will talk to you tomorrow. Be good.